Time now for Eye on Africa, the headlines. President Ellen Johnson Sirleaf marks the occasion as control of security in Liberia is handed from UN peacekeepers to national forces. Elsewhere, a first wave of Somali refugees leave Kenya's giant Dadaab refugee camp amid controversial move to reduce its size. As a plastic bag ban comes into force here in France, Tunisia makes the same move in a bid to tackle environmental degradation. We start in Liberia, which is taking charge of its own security for the first time since the end of the civil war 13 years ago. President Ellen Johnson Sirleaf marking the transfer of responsibilities from the United Nations peacekeeping mission amid celebrations on Friday.
For many, this was a day of celebration. Even the rain didn't dampen spirits. This street party was to mark the first time in more than a decade that Liberia took responsibility for its own security.
The United Nations mission in Liberia will officially turn over the security to the Liberian government. We have come here to say thanks to UNMIL for all what she's done over the years.
UN forces have kept the peace in Liberia since the end of the civil war 13 years ago. Children this age have never known their country without them. The UN's trained the local police and military, who say they are ready to look after their country. Some here aren't so sure.
We need more manpower. The security is good. They are good. They are trained, well trained. But the manpower is less.
We need more men in the police to be able to cover the entire 15 counties. This is our fear, especially as women.
But others feel it is time for Liberia to stand alone.
We believe that our security can handle this country and couple with the citizens and we work along with the security. We believe that Liberia can go forward.
We are ready for peace. We don't want no more war. War not good. We are ready for peace.
Liberia's president admits there will be challenges ahead. Ellen Johnson Sirleaf wants international partners to continue to help local forces and for citizens like these to unite for peace.
Elsewhere, a first wave of Somali refugees has begun leaving Kenya's Dadaab refugee camp. This Nairobi aims to halve the number of people living at the giant site, once home to more than 500,000 people. Kenya says the camp's a security threat as it's used as a recruitment base for Islamist militants Al-Shabaab. The US and UN have expressed concern about refugees returning to a nation still reeling from conflict. For more, we can talk to our Nairobi correspondent Julia Steers, who's currently in New York. Good evening to you, Julia. Tell us a little bit more about this planned shutdown.
Well, it's really been a long time coming in many ways, given that it's the oldest and largest refugee camp in the world. The international community really agrees with Kenya that they've done their duty by hosting these Somali refugees for over 2 decades and that it's no longer a sustainable solution. But it's become a very political issue going into a presidential election year in Kenya. And as al-Shabaab attacks have ramped up on both sides of the border over the course of the last year, we've seen attacks both in northeastern Kenya and we've seen the deadliest attack against Kenyan defense forces in Kenyan military history at a Kenyan security base in Somalia. So there's been really increased pressure on Kenyan politicians to shut down the camp by the new deadline that they've set, which is the end of 2017.
And security issues on both sides of the border.
Right, exactly. On the Kenyan side, the concern is the longer the camp stays open, the greater risk there is that al-Shabaab can transit through the camp in order to stage attacks in Kenya or to use it, as you said, as a recruitment ground for recruiting Somalis and Kenyans in northeastern Kenya. On the Somali side of the border, the security concerns are much greater. The prospect of returning over 300,000 Somali refugees in such a short time period to a country where the security situation in much of the country is still tenuous at best, raises concerns for the international community and for security analysts in the region. Analysts also tell me that there's great concern that sending so many refugees back to a situation where the economy is unstable makes the idea of joining a militant group like Al-Shabaab, a more appealing option for some of these young refugees. So that is a concern that elevates the security risk in Somalia as well.
Julia Steers in New York, thanks for joining us. The tiny West African nation of Guinea-Bissau has confirmed its first 3 cases of the Zika virus. That in a group of islands off the mainland. Government says it set up an emergency committee to stop further transmission. Experts had feared the nation could become a gateway to Zika's spread into Africa after cases were detected on Cape Verde Island late last year. Now, France brought in a plastic bag ban today, and Tunisia has decided to follow suit. A measure designed to tackle environmental damage and disfigurement is due to come into force next year. But the reform has yet to convince everyone. The negotiations are ongoing. This from our correspondent Sandro Luchins and Hamdi Tlili.
Its technical name is lightweight, single-use plastic bag. It's an item used every day in stores and local markets. Some people even manage to make a business out of them. But Tunisia's thousands of plastic bag retailers might soon be out of work.
I sell these plastic bags because there is no other work. Now they want to ban them. But then how are we going to eat? I have 6 children.
1 billion plastic bags are used in Tunisia each year, says the government, and 80% of them end up scattered around the countryside. To fight pollution, the state now aims to ban non-biodegradable plastic bags by 2017. The ban would be a blow for the plastic bag industry. Founded 20 years ago, this family business produces 100 tons of grocery bags each month.
We will have to cut down on half of our production. We employ 60 factory workers. That means that at least 30 of them will be out of work.
The authorities are expecting industry leaders to adapt their businesses to the new legislation and sell sustainable bags in order to save jobs. But so far, the state has failed to convince even environmentalists like the NGO Tunisia Recycling. Here in a northern suburb of Tunis, a handful of volunteers salvage each month up to 5 tons of waste.
Clearly, in terms of legislation, it's good. I can't be against such a law. We need it. But on the other hand, it's quite vague. Have they raised public awareness of the plastic bags waste management? Of course not. And what will they do with the plastic bags already lying around?
For the moment, a public agency buys off used plastic bags from street collectors. But at only 20 cents a kilo, the current system of waste management has yet to pay off.
Finally, it's been a bumpy ride to qualification for the Rio Olympics, but athletes from Kenya's team have finally got their tickets there. This after the anti-doping agency warned they could be banned from the event over allegations of doping. Dozens of Kenyan athletes and the federation's president have been suspended. France 24's Ben Barnier has details.
Giving their all to make it to the Olympics in Rio. These Kenyan athletes participated in the national trials in Eldoret. Among them, 1500-meter Olympic champion Asbel Kiprop.
I believe in hard work. I believe in training, and also when God is on our side and gives us the favors, then I must win.
So I come back. I said only I want to Olympics. I don't want any race. I only want to do 5,000 because I don't have a speed for 15 since I'm coming from maternity leave.
It hasn't been an easy ride for these sportsmen and women. The track team came close to being banned from the Olympics after the World Anti-Doping Agency showed the yellow card.
There were always a bit of uncertainty, a bit of doubts, a bit of worry because of accusations. Undue accusation, let me put it that way. Because it's not every athlete in Kenya who has used performance-enhancing substances or the banned substances. We have the records of those who have used the substances, and they have been cautioned according to the rules and regulations of WADA, of IAAF, and they have been cautioned. They are not here.
In recent months, dozens of Kenyan athletes have been involved in doping cases. The National Federation's director has been suspended for 6 months over accusations of corruption and covering up doping practices.
That's it for Eye on Africa. Do stay with us here on France 24.
Talking Europe. With all the main European news, debates between representatives of the best and worst performing EU member states, and exclusive interviews with major personalities. Talking Europe on France 24 and France24.com.